black bucket there, a fine one for the Caledonia Gladiators who move on to 25 points. Durham still with 20. Just going to confirm, if you bear with us a second, I will confirm about the YouTube stream right now, the full details for you. This is going out on Caledonia Gladiators YouTube. So if you go to the Caledonia Gladiators YouTube page now, we'll be disengaging from this Twitter space. We'll be bringing it to an end, and then you can join us on there for full commentary with myself and Rona Lightbody of what remains of the game. Hi everyone out there. We missed you.
Part of me wonders if someone's paid someone to lose a cable somewhere, but there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there is a way. So Twitter Spaces, that's a new thing for me and you, Rona.
No, it definitely is. I'm going to take that into the classroom and pretend I'm cool and down with the teenagers. I was just getting the hang of TikTok. And
oh, really?
Now there we are. But we're back in our home. We're back on the YouTube channel. This is where we do our best work.
Do you know what? I'm going to do my intro. Even though the game's already going and alive, I feel that it's important to add a bit of context. The Caledonia Gladiators currently with possession with Abby Wolf. Oh, and it kisses its way around, and then Abby Wolf gets it to go.
She willed that in like someone playing a game when you're trying to avoid the baddie, you know, and you move the whole joypad everywhere. Do you call it a joypad still? That's old.
Controller.
Yeah, controller. Oh dear.
A joypad.
It's been a while since I played a computer game.
Rona down with the kids' light body.
Oh dear.
Great moment. Right, excellent. So, we are currently, the score, understand me, not be on your screen, so it's Caledonia Gladiators 27-20 in front against the Durham Palatinates here. I'm Stuart Hodge, Rona Lightbody with me, and we are commentating the Caledonia Gladiators' triumphant return north of the border as
Beautiful
Robin Lewis gets it to go.
Somebody go out there and stop her.
Absolutely excellent. So 30 points to 20 lead for the Caledonia Gladiators right now as they return home, the triumphant homecoming after eat, sleep and end the streak when they beat the London Lions, ending a 52-game long period of domestic domination for the team from the UK capital. That was quite something, wasn't it, Rona?
No, that was indeed, and I've actually then gone back and re-watched the game on top of that, and it was just such a good game to watch. I mean, I was sweating, so I don't know how they were feeling, but you could tell that they were confident in what they were doing, and they stuck to their plan, although they did, you know, they seized up a bit like they played in the Leicester game, but like we sort of mentioned earlier, I think they learned a lot from the Leicester game the previous day, and they were able to get out there and they were able to, you know, right those wrongs. And then away, back-to-back games, they're tough on the body, especially when you're away, but I actually think having that immediate chance to redeem yourself, they did. They went out and they did that.
And then some.
And then some. And fair play to London, you know, they've said good game, they're moving on from it. It'll fire them up even more. You know, they had Cardiff today, and you can see they're not taking their foot off the gas at all. They've got something to prove. Their new coach is in the door, wasn't the best way for her to get off to...
An auspicious start, wasn't it?
Which is never going to be ideal, but you know, Gladiators, like every team in the WBL, you can only go out and do your own thing, and that's what they're going to do. And they've come out and they're playing some lovely team basketball today. You know, Robin isn't known for being a prolific scorer, but she's coming out and she's knocking down the threes today, and that probably wasn't on the scout report in all honesty.
No, indeed not. She's got 9 points already.
She's tearing that up.
Yeah, it's been an excellent start from Robin Lewis, an excellent start from Abby Wolf in particular as well, with 13 points, almost close to her mark from that London game where she did get player of the game and really did ball out, didn't she? Now Hendershot for Durham, who needs a spurt of momentum to get back into this game here. Less than half of the second quarter to go, and the shot clock almost running out again as Wayne's attempt doesn't go. Now Robin Lewis coming the other way. And you can almost sense just the confidence and belief soaring through the veins of these Caledonia Gladiators players after what was a seismic victory against London. Players moving well, ball moving well. Now Thompson.
Up in a window.
Couldn't quite get that to go. Buzzer sounds for what would have been a shot clock violation had it not been rebounded as well. Durham trying to get one to go. Attempted to kiss off the glass there from Bautista.
Durham have sped up their offence a little bit, and that wasn't that's not working for them at the moment. You almost think they just need to take almost a leaf out of Caledonia's book, and they need to maybe slow themselves down a little bit and get the right option. But I guess they've had a couple of times under the cosh where it's been down towards the end of the shot clock and they're having to force something, so they're just going to have to look to find that balance. But I guess that's with their team. They've got quite some very experienced and some very good players, Otwell Soulsby and Jessica Wayne and even Katie Bennett. So I guess with those other players on the floor, you've just got to find that right balance, don't you?
Yeah, I think they're maybe playing at the Gladiators' pace, which will not be ideal. Coach Lee Davey and his team. Soulsby gets that one up, can't get it to go. Rebounded by Abby Wolf. Our 4th rebound of the game so far. 7 minutes. Abby Wolf's taken a sore one after a collision with Hendershot there.
Not actually quite sure what happened. It feels like they both kind of just got the same spot at the same time. Maybe there's a hole in the floor we can't see.
Well, there is quite a lot of slipping and sliding sometimes goes on here at the Emirates Arena. One of my favourite moments of the season, Rona, was when there was a spot of sweat or moisture on court and 3 people around at it, and Eddie McGarrigan wasn't satisfied with the level of cleaning. Just started doing it herself.
Her mum obviously taught her well.
Handy drops that one off. McGarrigan somehow weaves a way through. Travel is called though. Maybe that helped.
I don't know if Coach or Mario Miguel over there is in a little bit of the YMCA or if he is disputing the travel call. I think it's probably the latter.
Yes, the gesticulation was enjoyable. He's certainly having a good discussion with crew chief Ian McDonald about the decision.
I think some people in the crowd as well weren't convinced by that call. Great to see such a good crowd here as well. I know we've got a few of the local schools down from South Lanarkshire, and you like to hope that you've got some of the future Caledonia players there, because looking down the Caledonia bench, you've got 4 players. I was going to say under 20, but pretty much under 18 sitting on the bench. So for some of these kids watching out there, it's not that much of a pipe dream anymore to be able to come out and play this level of sport. Yeah,
you just need to look at the way Zoe Sharp started the game today. Really active in that first quarter.
Young legs. That's what she's got. She's got young legs on her side.
Young legs and a lot of talent.
Most definitely.
Same with Kerry McGee as well. Won the Scottish Cup recently at under 18 level. Chukwuetu tries to get it up. And good defence once more from the Caledonia Gladiators. Durham Limited.
Yeah, they're really snuffing out that inside presence, aren't they?
Zoe Sharp with a huge 3-pointer.
Captain acknowledging that herself as she runs back.
Off the mark for the young gun then. 2 rebounds and an assist as well. 3-2-1. Lovely looking box score for young Zoe Sharp.
And I think what really impresses me about her is the fact, she didn't play big minutes last week. She barely did hit the floor, and then she's coming out and she's playing a key role today. It just shows how well the coaching staff are keeping ticking over, and also just mentally where she's at, that she's like, cool, I can come in, I can play big minutes, I can sit on the bench, I can be behind my team, and that's exactly the sort of player you want on your team.
I think what's impressed me is the assertiveness with which she's now carrying the ball. There's a difference in the body language there. Should acknowledge that answer from El Hendershot, the Durham captain. Just to shave 2 points off the leads. But then Chantel Handy fancied adding 3 more on, and that was a cute attempt at a pass from Robin Lewis round the corner through the legs. That would have been quite something if it had come off, but not quite.
Then you also look, that's what I always say, you don't need to be tall to be rebound. People always think, your tallest players should be your best rebounders, but there's Robin Lewis pulling down the board. And it's all about, for me, it's all about determination. It's all about hustle and going after the ball, because you're having to go the opposite way to where you want to go.
3rd rebound of the game for Robin Lewis as well, so very active on the glass for a guard so far.
I've noticed that, with Thompson, she can just stick her hands in a little bit. I think she's got a lovely long wingspan, which is totally to her benefit, but then you just have to be so careful, because if you catch somebody, the referees are going to see it, especially when you're out at that 3-point line. It's just an easy call when there's the 3 of them on the floor.
Yep. Should say we send our best wishes to the departed Erin Jones. Excellent stint she had at the Gladiators as well. Hendershot tosses that one up, and then that was great work from Wayne to keep the possession alive for Durham, but the shot clock runs out in the end, and Wayne is just pointing that out to her teammates.
She had a lovely little split step there on the baseline, which isn't something you necessarily see in basketball very often, but just to keep the ball in play. Because obviously in basketball, as different to other sports, if you or the ball or any part of the ball touches the line or outside the line, the ball is out. Whereas, in football, they can play themselves out the pitch, but they can leave the ball on the pitch, and that's absolutely fine.
Yep. How was your footwork when you were playing?
Oh, amazing. It's like Strictly Come Dancing.
Excellent. I'm certainly not that good a dancer, I'll tell you that. Durham coming the other way. Oh, and another meaty collision on the floor. Oh, that looks a sore one as well.
Yep, definitely just caught. It wasn't malicious, it was just caught after play. Potentially winding situation.
Yeah, never like to see that on court.
No.
Chantel Handy just over.
And as a player, if you ever do that, I've been in the situation a couple of times, when I've maybe driven to the hoop and someone's got in my way and they've maybe gone into the wall, and it's not an intentional thing, it's just within the game, but you do feel hideous. And I'm pretty sure that's how Shan will be feeling at the moment as well.
Yeah, Chantel Handy's obviously seen pretty much everything before. Stellar international career came to an end when she announced her retirement this week. It's been fantastic for the Gladiators to have a player of her stature come in and operate in that hybrid role, part coach, part assistant coach, and parts as fulcrum on the floor as well.
And full-time motivator. If there's somebody that's going to make sure you run and run and run, it's going to be Chantel Handy. And you're not going to not run.
Is she more carrot or more stick in terms of approach? Stern and in terms of driving people on? Or
I don't want to see the stick after the game, so I'll say carrot. I don't want her to dig me on that one. But no, it's like, and the thing is, she doesn't need to be either, because she herself holds herself to such high standards, and she herself puts her body through everything she expects you to. So, literally, it's not even do as I say, not as I do. It's like do as I say and as I do. And she sets that standard and expectation, and you rise to it, and you can see that's why the team's making the progress they are. Yeah,
I think that's absolutely accurate. Good to see Ima Bautista back up after what was a really sore one. Bit of treatment for the Spaniards. Hopefully be okay after that. So almost zipped through the opening 2 quarters here. 11-point leads for the Gladiators as we enter the final 30 seconds of basketball. Robin Lewis, so crafty.
Gladiators going with a slightly smaller lineup at the moment with, you could argue 3-point guards on the floor. So you wonder if they're looking to push the ball a little bit more, get a few more outside shots.
Hopefully a little bit better than that one.
Yeah, as I was saying that, I was like, and maybe that wasn't quite the game plan.
Palatinates, though, has proven that she can shoot from range in this game so far. Maybe not this particular game. 1 shot has gone, and 2 3-pointers have missed.
You just feel that foul there wasn't really needed. 5.9 seconds left on the clock. It's probably not ideal.
Yep. Durham now inbounds. Can they get a possession to go? Up it goes from Wayne, doesn't go. And it's going to be an 11-point margin to end the first half of basketball. The Caledonia Gladiators leading here against the Durham Palatinates by 33 points to 22. Rona, we arrived a bit late on the scene in terms of syncing video with audio, but we're here now, and for anyone that may have missed what happened in the first quarter, do you want to talk us a little bit through that and your key takeaways from that, and then the half as a whole?
Not much then.
No, not much.
I'm glad we've got 15 minutes at WBVL for half-time. So, I feel Durham came out and they took the lead early on, and you can see maybe Gladiators, they're a little bit on the back foot, but, first 5-10 minutes you're sort of feeling each other out anyway, and you can see Gladiators started to get into more of a rhythm. Coach McGelly didn't make any sort of quick substitutions, so you could tell that he was kind of like satisfied with what was going on, even though they weren't winning. And then he started to put those rotations in sort of as the game was progressing later into the quarter, and you brought on people like Chantel Handy and Pat Elias, and that helped settle the game, but they managed to claw back a bit of a win I think Durham have been really unfortunate. They started with some really nice basketball. They were getting to the hoop. They were getting some calls. You know, you've seen them complaining maybe about a few calls at the moment, and you know it's going to be tough inside there. You've got some tough players in the Gladiators and some bigger players in stature-wise than them, so it is going to be a lot to go inside against them. They kind of have got a little bit tight at times, and they've maybe just tried to do a little bit too much of their own thing, or then a little bit too much team basketball, so they're getting stuck in that sort of half and in between. And I mean, if with the stream run right now, you'll be able to see Coach Lee Davey chatting to his assistants at the moment, so they're maybe thinking the same, like, okay, so what was going well, why was it going well, and then why did we come away from it? You know, they have done some rotations on the bench, but I know a couple of their players, they play big minutes. They're used to playing 35, 38, even 40 minutes a game. So that'll be something, you know, that shouldn't affect them as such.
Just to expand on your point, El Hendershot, 36 minutes a game. Harriet Dr. Will Soulsby, 36, nearly 37 minutes a game, and Jessica Wayne, 35 and a half. So that tells you a lot.
No, it does. And I think as a player, when you know you're playing big minutes, I mean, well, I'll admit to it, but you do know if you're going to go out and play big minutes, you've got to pick and choose your moments sometimes. And sometimes when you're getting hit in the first quarter already and you're like, I've got another 3 quarters of this to go, you've got to try and protect the body as best as you can, and you've also got to think better about how you manage your fouls, and also, you know, just when to pull and when to push. Whereas, you know, if you're a player that's coming on, and Gladiators are very good at rotating the bench round, so you know you can go out and give your 110% because you're going to come off, you're going to get your rest. Unless you're someone like Robin Lewis, who's just like full engine, full steam ahead all the time. But it will be tough for those Durham players to do that, and they're still putting up the stats. You know, it's not like they're playing 40 minutes and their stats are here and there. You know, they're going into double figures, rebounding, scoring. They're carrying a lot of the team, and they'll be wanting to do that for themselves. You know, that's something I was asking about Oswald Soulsby, like, you know, is there going to be a GB call-up imminent for her? Because I think what she's been doing in the league's been great. She's played overseas, you know, she's developed herself as a player, so that's going to be maybe something, you know, she's thinking about as well, wanting to put herself out there and be playing her best basketball, you know, because you want these things, because that'll be what helps you continue to develop as a player.
Well, on that note, if you are a player who stands out as one of the stars in the team, and you do realise that there's the potential to go from a personal perspective and expand your career, new horizons, maybe a better level of basketball even, how hard is it for players in that situation, do you think, and your experience as well, when you're trying to make sure you ball out as an individual but also look after the interests of the team as a whole?
I would say the two go hand in hand. You can only ball out by being a great team player. You know, I mean, I've never had great handles anyway. I'm not the Iverson or the next LeBron James, definitely not. But, you know, if you can play...
Quick aside, sorry. Compare yourself to maybe a well-known basketball player stylistically.
Oh, I think I'm individual.
There we go.
I think I'm one of a kind, and not in maybe a positive way. No, but I think, you know, these players down there, they won't be thinking in the moment. They won't be going, oh no, I just missed that 3-pointer, or oh, I've got to add this to my game. They'll be going, how am I going to get my team better? Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, if you go out and drop 60, 70 points, that's why you get a lot of the NBA debates, don't you? Because it's like, yeah, they're scoring 70 points, but how are they actually helping their team? And in basketball, you need 5 players. You physically can't inbound the ball to yourself. You know, you need other people in your team. So by making your team better, thereby you're making and showing yourself as being better as well. And it's not even necessarily the putting up the numbers. It's the, as you can see from our bench, you know, you've got the players on the court, like you've got your Erins and your Chantels and your Robins, who are so good at motivating the others and being those leadership qualities and bringing players in. And when I watch the men in the BBL, I think Fraser Malcolm does a great job of that. He's not necessarily the oldest, he doesn't play necessarily all the time massive minutes, but the way he brings the guys in and he speaks to them and he talks to them, you know, and I know he's got a teaching background behind him.
I was going to say, it's
Teachers
Alliance, right?
Yeah, no, it is, but you know, and I think that again to me is what makes a great player. You know, I would rather have 12 players like that than 12 players who can go out and score 30, 40 points a game. I think in the female game it's not usually as common anyway. I'm just going to put it out there and open myself up to some Twitter abuse. But I do think in female basketball, the team aspect does tend to be bigger. And I mean, you can see it with Lions. I mean, Kiki, you know, she balls out. Holly balls out. You know, they all seem to take their turn at it almost. But as a team, collectively, they play very well. That's why Moneyball became so famous, didn't it? Or Brentford, when you look at them, you know, they're not going out and spending Chelsea money. And some of these teams in the BBL and WBL, they don't have the same money as Lions to spend, but they're still finding ways to win, and they're still building teams that are then going and beating these other teams.
I'm loving the analogy. Should say the Caledonia Gladiators have beaten the London Lions in their last game on the men's side and the women's side. So You know what time it is when you come up here, Lions. You did mention the men's team, Rona. They are playing later on against the Surrey Scorchers from 5 o'clock. You can, of course, watch that on the British Basketball League channel. And I'm pretty sure it's streaming the Caledonia Gladiators one as well. So, plenty of basketball for you to enjoy today on what's a stellar sporting day north of the border. You've got a cup final between Glasgow's big two football teams. You've got the rugby. But, of course, keep it here on the hardwood with us. Caledonia Gladiators and Durham Palatinates. Are we just going to talk through the whole half time? I'm quite happy to, or do you want a break?
I think we should give the people a break, give the people what they want.
Okay, we're going to give you a break from us for the next sort of 5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more. So go make a cup of tea, do whatever you're doing, get the lunch on, be a late lunch, mind you, if you were going to do that. And I just want to give a personal shout out to the few hardy souls that joined us in that Twitter space. If any of you have migrated to YouTube.
I think it was my husband, mother-in-law and father-in-law and the dog.
Oh, was it? Okay. But I was going to say, if any of Rona's family and anyone else that was there want to make themselves known to me, then I would be delighted to say hello to you on Twitter. You can get me at Hodgie the Hack. And, of course, make sure and follow all the team socials. And you can give yours out if you want, Rona, as well. We social plug at the end of the half.
I'm absolutely fine.
You're absolutely fine. See. I'm just one that
I can't remember it, that's why I'm fine.
Excellent stuff. So we will be back in about 5 minutes' time. Caledonia Gladiators, as you can see on your screen, leading the Durham Palatinates by 33 points to 22. Back shortly. A very warm welcome back to the Emirates Arena. We're about a minute away from more basketball taking place. My name is Stuart Hodge, and I'll be carrying you through the rest of this. Well, I say carrying. I will be the lead commentator for the rest of this broadcast, being carried by Miss Rona Lightbody. Rona, what do you think is going to change in this sort of second half of basketball? What do you think Durham will be looking to go differently? And from the Gladiators' perspective, is there anything they'll be looking to tweak or make sure that they continue to emphasise?
I think, for Gladiators at the moment, for me, it's going to have to be their defence. It's going to be, they're doing a good job in the paint of stopping the ball, but often, Durham are getting some really nice cuts and looks. So I think that's going to be something they're looking to. On the flip side with Durham and their offence, I just feel that potentially what they're going to want to do is maybe get the ball moving a little bit more, so make Gladiators come out. If they do dump the ball inside, either go to work early or get the ball kicked back out and maybe do a little bit more interior-exterior play, because when it's going in there sometimes it's just getting stuck and they're either not being able to find someone to dump the ball off to, or they're not getting the shot off. So I think Gladiators are going to look to continue to capitalise on this. They've come out again. Zoe leading the lineup, going to play that point guard or just off guard position. You've got three tall players. Abby, Jamila and Erin, they've both got wingspan on them, so that's going to make it tough for Durham, who are already a little bit undersized against them.
Yes, so as you alluded to there, Rona, Zoe Sharp, Robin Lewis, Erin McGanachan, Jamila Thompson and Abby Wolf starting this quarter for the Caledonia Gladiators. For the Durham Palatinates, it's El Hendershots, Orioma Chukwu Etu, just as Erin McGanachan drives here. Thompson, now Zoe Sharp did have the chance to shoot, instead goes for a better shot inside and just can't get it to go. Well rebounded by Thompson. Zoe Sharp has it again, zips it in to Abby Wolf. Robin Lewis has the space, gets it to Thompson and Wolf, and that ball movement was sublime from the Gladiators. Another chance at it.
You almost feel like Abby wasn't quite expecting that, and that's the sort of shot in the first half that did fall. And you're always going to go through spells in a game of basketball. It's very rare, and people do it, but you're never really going to go 100% from the field, and that's where, yes, if you miss, not a problem, but make sure you attack and get the boards, and Gladiators have retained it and drawn a foul.
Yes, indeed. So run through the Durham team. We've got El Hendershots, Orioma Chukwu Etu, Harriet Ottawil Soulsby. And then good that she's back on her feet again. Ima Bautista now gets that one to go.
And she has shrugged off that injury from that first half.
And Jessica Wayne with the steal, completing the 5 for the Durham Palatinates. And that is an excellent basket off the turnover. That's an area where the Caledonia Gladiators led convincingly in the opening half. 11 points to just 2 off turnovers for Durham. So that from Wayne will be a good sign for the visiting team. Robin Lewis again shoots the 3. And after they fell first half, I think she likes the other end of the court a wee bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, that's the thing. They've missed, a couple of easy ones in at the basket and things haven't gone quite their way. The turnover on Robin, that's not something you tend to see either these days. So, they've given up 4 quick points. Durham got another chance to put another few on the board. Gladiators are going to want to play some stellar defence here and not allow that to happen.
Wayne now. It's around Zoe Sharp. Sort of Will Soulsby. Possession will remain with Durham. Robin Lewis did get her hands in there, always with the active hands. So it will be Durham to inbounds. If you're just joining us, Caledonia Gladiators leading here. Although it's Durham who have scored 4 points with no reply at the start of this third quarter.
Gladiators have done a really good job with Ottawil Soulsby to keep her quiet today. She's currently only on 4 points. And, she's far used to being a higher scoring player than that. And I know we've got a whole other half of basketball, but that'll be someone they've clearly scouted, and they'll be looking to, you know, stay on top of her. Other people are picking up the slack, obviously, like has to happen. So Jessica Wayne stepping in with her 10 already, but Durham will be looking to get a few more scoring options going.
Yes, so one of two players in double figures as that one drops for Orioma Chukwuetu. Abby Wolf the other one. There's Anna McGarrigan. Now Zoe Sharp. Good screen from Jamila Thompson.
Tough screen for sure.
Gets it back, and Thompson, it is worth saying, just picked up her third foul, so needs to be wary of the foul trouble. Anna McGarrigan and Zoe Sharp have a couple apiece, so that is an area where the Gladiators just need to be careful. Under 10 on the shot clock now. Abby Wolf gets it into Erin McGarrigan. Fine cuts from the skipper.
You almost wonder, how did that pass get there? She had two players in her way. Erin's such a good job at cutting to the hoop all the time. Great work by Abby to get the ball there. And you feel like Gladiators really needed that score. You know, when you're starting to go a few minutes without having to score and the other team are putting points on the boards, you want to curb that as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. It was a 7-0 run to start the third quarter. So as you see, Rona, very, very timely. Wayne, interesting shooting action. Onto Will Soulsby, gets the rebounds, and these were the kind of rebounds that the Gladiators were picking up in the first half of basketball. So Durham have certainly come out with real purpose and vigour in this third quarter. Onto Will Soulsby, heads to the line now. Just off screen, Jessica Wayne speaking to Coach Lee Davey about a few things.
Free throws letting Durham down today, you know. Had a couple of misses in the first half as well, and when the score's as tight as it is, and you know, confidence as well going down the stretch. You saw Chantel Handy had to step up. She had 2 free throws, and that's what gave them the 1 point leads. And you know, at the end of the game, you want to, if you are in that position, you want to be feeling like, oh, I've scored my free throws today, and you're not having a panic because you haven't scored yet.
Yeah, just 2 of 6 so far in the game, Durham. That is not a good sign for them. Ball well brought under control by Chukwuetu. Now Jessica Wayne driving. Maybe one of the few players in the WBBL that's quicker than Robin Lewis. End her shots. Now Wayne coming round the screen. Onto Will Soulsby. Trying to get going properly. And gets to the basket.
Yeah, Durham did, you know, really nice patient basketball there, and they moved the ball around really well. And then, you know, at the end it became a little bit one-on-one, but she drew the foul and she's made Gladiators play 23 seconds of defence on her.
Yes, indeed. Funnily enough, 23 points is what she averages in that first half. Not managed to put up many at all. So, back at the free throw line. There's all sorts of sound effects and gizmos to try and put the Durham players off.
Definitely, I sat over in that section for the guys' BBL game week past Friday, and it is noisy down there. People are right into it.
And it's working as well. That one does go. Front to Will Soulsby. And just 3 of 8 now.
Can just see they're waiting there at the halfway line, Durham, to trap the point guard on their own.
McGarrigan.
You know, that inside play, which was looking for Thompson there, that has been working so well for them, but you can see, you know, Durham are now getting hands to it, whereas they maybe weren't in that first half. That was a lovely 3.
Yeah, that's a fine 3, and you have to say Hendershot as well. Good defensive anticipation to force the turnover, which allowed Bautista to get the shot to go. Zoe Sharp under pressure, and make sure it's a jump ball at least.
You definitely feel Durham have come out of the locker room with more intent and more motivation at the moment, don't you?
Yeah, they certainly have, and that is why the 11-point lead has shrunk to just 2 at the start of the third quarter. And I think it's no surprise that coach Miguel Angel Ortega Marco is having a word with his players. He cannot be happy with what he's seen at the start of the third.
No, and I think he would have every right to be. You know, they were playing some lovely basketball, but half-time can work to your advantage or disadvantage. It can be a momentum breaker if things aren't going your way and help slow down another team, but on the other side, if things are going your way and it breaks things down, that's definitely not going to work to your team's advantage. What Gladiators need to do coming at this time out is go back to what was working and moving the ball and crashing the boards hard. If these simple shots of the 3 points aren't going to fall, that's absolutely fine. No team's going to go through a game without missing. It's then what you do in those seconds and moments afterwards, whereas at the moment Durham are coming away with the ball and they're coming down the other end and scoring. You know, are we just being lazy at getting out to the 3 point line, or are Durham moving the ball better? But at the same time, you can only play your team game. You know, Gladiators have some really nice help defence and getting in the lines, but that's maybe missing at the moment, and that's why the ball's been able to move a little bit freer. They've got to be more proactive as opposed to reactive.
Yes, Chantel Handy, by the way, is yet to notch a point in this game. So I would think...
Are you going for a reverse commentator's curse?
Maybe.
She goes and knocks down the next 20.
But what I'm thinking is, if she can get going, that will put the Gladiators in a far better position than they have been at the start of this third quarter so far. Jessica Wayne moves round screens so well.
Big mid-match in there as well.
Otto Will Soulsby above Elias. Andy gets a hand to it, but can't bring down the rebounds. Ball pinging around. Bautista now.
That was a big three, you know, that's a chance to put them in the lead. Gladiators will be glad that hasn't fallen.
And that is what Durham were intending coming into this game. Elias just not in the same wavelength as Thompson there.
Yeah, I can see what she was doing. She was trying to go for the quick entry pass, but she just didn't have that angle for where Thompson was posting up. Just a couple more dribbles down towards the baseline, she'd had a much better look at it.
What's happened to the cohesion of the Gladiators here?
I think it just happens, doesn't it, that you can't play a whole game perfectly, and if you do, that's maybe when you blow teams out, and then when you're blowing teams out, it's easy to score, it's easy to run. Whereas I think at the moment, you know, they're going through a dry patch, and it's how you weather those dry patches and where the score is once you come out the other side. You know, they're still maintaining the lead at the moment, and it's kind of going up and down. You can see Durham, they've maybe tightened up a little bit. Things aren't quite going the same way for them as well. So next few possessions are going to be key.
Absolutely. Feels like we are at somewhat of a pivot point in this game. Gladiators have just got away from the good ball movement that they had in the first half. Commentator's curse, or the reverse curse, not working that time for Chantel Handy. She's still scoreless after about a quarter of an hour on court.
But at the same time, knowing that she's a proven shooter, she's going to keep shooting those shots. Again, is it just, could somebody get there? Could they rebound it a little bit harder? Could they give them another attempt? Offensive boards are key.
I don't think there's any problem as Bautista charges in and just puts too much on that one. I don't think there's any problem with Chantel Handy taking those shots. She spent a career knocking them down. Zips the pass cross court to Zoe Sharp. Elias and Erin McGarrigan, the captain. 8 on the shot clock. Has to get a shot up. And it would have been a shot clock violation, but instead Durham forced the turnover anyway, and now Wayne has it. The American, so crafty, up against Zoe Sharp, and that's a hard defensive assignment for the teenager. Too hard. 35 apiece, now level on the scoreboard here. 11-point lead evaporates for the Caledonia Gladiators. They've still got just 2 points in the quarter so far.
You can see Chantel, you know, just trying to get players and tell them where to go. Big three. I feel like they could really have done with that drop in there.
And you have to say, Durham's defence at the start of this third quarter has been excellent. Otto Will Soulsby.
Yeah, you feel like they maybe lost their way a little bit, Durham, in that first half, especially sort of end of the first into the second. But they've definitely found their stride again. They're sticking to what their game plan is, and it's working for them.
Yes, indeed. So Abby Wolf back on court with Robin Lewis for the Caledonia Gladiators.
Yeah, both teams, running a pretty short bench. Both teams, with only 7 players sort of rotating in and out of the game, minutes-wise, which is interesting. It means players are getting plenty of time on the court and they're getting a good feel for it. But you wonder if fouls start to rack up, are you going to have to go a little bit deeper on your bench, and then, that can be a turning point in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we mentioned, Thompson has 3 for the Gladiators, Sharp and McGannigan with 2 apiece. On to Will Soulsby, the only Durham player with more than 1 so far on court. And once more at the line, Durham fail to deliver. Robin Lewis now trying to initiate something for the Caledonia Gladiators. Handy! What a pass!
Lovely find under there, experience to experience.
Yes, indeed. Eddie McGarrigan finishes it off. And the skipper puts the Caledonia Gladiators back in front as Hendershot tries for the quick answer. And all of a sudden, with the experience on the floor for the Gladiators, Handy again, McGarrigan again, deja vu all over again.
Really nice work there. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Well, that was no wonder. I don't think any basketball coach in the world at any level would not call a timeout after what we just saw.
No, definitely, because Durham have been doing so many good things, right? And that's the problem. You never call a timeout to say to your team, great work there, by the way. So when something like that's gone on twice in a row and your coach calls a timeout, someone's getting chewed out, and you've got to look at that quickly. And you've got to see why is it happening. And, it could be one person's fault, they're switching off. But at the same time, it's a team game, so it never comes down to just one person.
Just on that point, actually, do you think with the substitutions that happened on the court there, do you think Coach Miguel had maybe pointed out, or one of the coaching staff for the Gladiators maybe said, look, they're defending well, but here's a hole in that defence you can exploit? Because they've gone to the well twice there, Handy to the cutting McGannigan under the basket, and it's worked twice for the Gladiators. So do you think that was maybe something the coaches pointed out?
Definitely, they're going to have their eye on everything, and Donnie McDonald's down there, so he's got the stats, and he's like Rain Man when it comes to stats and all that sort of stuff. He loves them, and he'll be looking at that. But I also think having someone like Chantel feeding someone like Erin, Chantel and not move even away from the experience, she's got the height out there, whereas your Robins, your Pats, your Zoes are a little bit shorter against maybe sometimes Jessica Wayne, a little bit taller. You've seen those long limbs come in and get the steals. So actually maybe just even the height of Chantel, being able to see that pass inside, to be able to dump it into it effectively, whereas slightly shorter player, more chance maybe of being turned over. So I think it can also do with a big who's on the floor for you, as opposed to being able to exploit those then gaps. There's always going to be a gap, it's just who finds them and when.
Chantel Handy's obviously a special player with a storied career. But I think you see the height and the passing with Abby Wolf as well. And that is one area, Otto Will Soulsby being the notable exception and encapsulating that fact with that basket.
And yeah, that was far too easy to allow a player of her calibre to just come round and have a little left-hand hook shot. She's got to exploit that.
The height for the Gladiators once
Inside
more.
Again.
McGarrigan finding the space inside, and it was Abby Wolf with the pass high through the air. Wayne.
Durham are playing with more confidence now as well, whereas maybe they weren't attacking quite as hard or with as much conviction. Whereas they know they're in a game, they know they can come out and win this, and you can tell by the way they're doing that.
Absolutely.
Just feel Gladiators are maybe giving away too many fouls at the moment. I sometimes, if I'm watching away games or stuff on the TV, I'm shouting, like, why would you foul there? But, she wasn't really going anywhere. She was outside the 3-point line. The time was ticking down. Was that the best time to put in a foul? But
the argument I would make is, with the record Annie Otto Will Soulsby's had at the free throw line today, generally speaking, it's not been too bad a move. And you should say, even though that one has gone, that's just 4 of 11 now for Durham. That 5 of 12. So ticking back up towards 50%, but that return from the line is not going to win basketball games.
No. But then she's scored the 2, she's put them evens. That's big.
Ball movements from the Gladiators, exemplary. And Elias.
I definitely feel Gladiators, need to start knocking down some more outside shots, because Durham, again, they're just going to try and clog that key, because that's where they're getting their success at the moment. And they can continue to clog that key and have rebounders in there if Gladiators can't get those outside shots to fall.
Such a good team in the paint, the Caledonia Gladiators. One of the strongest in the league.
Lovely block there by Erin. She blocked it so hard she came back with the ball.
So something just seems to have clicked.
You feel like Abby maybe just needs to exploit that space a little bit more. Yeah, not expecting her necessarily to knock down the big three, but just even a couple of dribbles inside, she's going to have to draw the attack. Although Erin's just scored anyway and totally put what I've said to nonsense. But, you know, she's going to have that much space. She's got to move.
Big collision between Hendershot and Wolf. Wolf wounded and on the floor, but springs back to her feet in quick fashion. In McGarrigan now leading all scorers in the game with 14 points.
And what a season she's having, you know. We know she's a vet of this league. We know she's, you know, her herself has also had an amazing career, and she's had some terrible injuries along the way, but she's got that sort of never say die attitude. And, you know, whenever you speak to her, she just loves basketball. She loves playing, you know. I knew her when she was younger, sort of 14, 15, 16, and she beat me then. She still beats me now. But, you know, she's always had that love for the game, and I think that's why she just plays, because she's so passionate and she wants to learn, and you know, she'll listen and she just takes on board everything. Lovely pass inside to Abby.
Great stuff there. And Chantel Handy pumps the fist at the other end of the court, and she's clapping her hands manically as well. Exactly the possession the Gladiators need.
That's that sort of thing I was talking about earlier when we were talking about Harriet and wanting to put in a good performance herself. You're going, you know, Chantel's not got herself on the score sheet, but do you ever think if she phoned up Coach Chem and was like, Jonah, I want to come back, like, oh no, you didn't score at the weekend? But, you know, that's exactly what she brings to the team. You know, she's racking up the assists, she's G'ing the other girls up, she's crashing the boards hard. Yeah, she maybe gave up a bit of a daft foul, but what she brings on the court, whether she's scoring or not, that to me shows a high calibre and a sort of highly intellectual player.
Yeah, absolutely does. So the scoreboard has swelled in the Gladiators' direction just a bit towards the end of this third quarter. And after completely obliterating the 11-point lead at 1 point, you have to feel that Durham will probably be very disappointed to have seen that go back up to 7.
Yeah, you feel like they were just never able to quite get over. You know, and I really hope the WBL girls haven't been watching the BBL men, because I know how they sometimes like to get themselves into a bit of a ditch and then come back from it. What was the game most recently? Was it 18 or something they went down against Giants, and then they came back and won? But I much prefer my games to be in the lead and in the lead.
Just wire to wire.
Just wire to wire. But it also though shows good character, and it's also, you've got to play in games like that. You've got to know that you can come back from being down, and you've got to test yourself as a team, and that's when you see, you know, who are going to be your players that step up, or who are the players that can only score when things are going well. But, you know, like I say, both teams sort of sticking to that 7-person rotation. It's working. Durham will have a few things to tighten up on again, but again, they've had runs against the Gladiators, and they do say basketball's a game of runs.
Oh yeah.
So
that's probably the biggest cliche in the basketball.
Oh, it definitely is. If you were playing commentators bingo today, you can tick that one off.
Does anybody play any commentator bingo games? That's the kind of thing, right?
I play it in my head. I'm like, oh no, I've said that thing again.
Oh yeah.
And I try not to.
I just, like, honestly, I despair. I think listening back to myself, I would despair at the level of patter that you would have to suffer from me during a basketball game.
I'm a teacher, so I get daily feedback that my patter's awful. I'm used to it. I think it's thick skin.
That time, the handy to McGarrigan trick did not quite come off. So this feels like an important time in the game for the Durham Palatinates. Jessica Wayne finds El Hendershot now inside to Otto Will Soulsby. Nice turn once more, just can't quite get the direction and elevation where it needs to be on the shot. Now Elias for the Gladiators.
Nice wee horns action.
Robin Lewis has it. 7 on the shot clock. Erin McGarrigan takes the direct route and scores once again.
Back. I did wonder if she's going to go for the step through, but she went for the step back.
Lead now back at 9.
You feel like Chantel's maybe also gone, look, I'm going to take 13. She's causing us a bit of damage at the moment. And she's going to go out and put her mark on her.
3 on the shot clock for Durham. Need to get a shot up. It's heaved by Ottawa Soulsby. And the foul is called. And that was a late call. Chantel Handy despairing at that particular shout from the officials. So it's going to be 3 free throws for Harriet Ottawa Soulsby. And she's had a poor day at the line, but she got her eye in with the last trip. And I think you can see why she puts up 23 points a game, because she is so crafty when it comes to getting to the line. That's definitely a key facet, as well as her rounded scoring.
Yeah, definitely. You're not quite sure what she's going to do. And she's obviously got the range that she doesn't mind shooting the three, so that's something you've got to be so mindful of. But she does do a lovely job with her back to basket. She's very aware of where the hoop is, so that she's able to, those little turn and hook shots, which are quite impossible to guard.
Yes, indeed. Abby Wolf has it, now Robin Lewis.
Just trying to sort of exploit that lack of size inside. Lovely little dump.
Chantel Handy buries the 3. And that's quite the way to get yourself off the mark. Hendershot given the space. Had to take the shot on, couldn't get it to go. Double-digit lead once more for the Gladiators. McGarrahan given the space.
Lovely little up.
Gets to the basket and executes. Erin McGarrahan now up to 18 points for the game. Jessica Wayne, creative player, tries to get something happening for Durham.
Feel maybe Abby Wolf out there just a little bit tired. She was doing almost a point guard's job there with Hendershot bringing the ball up, having to guard the ball. She's having a great game. You just maybe seeing that last rebound and that last fast break there. She's getting herself in the right position. She is doing it. Just maybe not quite as sharp, as aggressive as she has been.
She can have a big rebounding quarter here. Another double-double for her. Good block by Ottawa Soulsby on Elias. So just 2 seconds left for the Caledonia Gladiators once the inbound. But the lead up to a dozen. And I'm sure that the hosts will be feeling a lot better about things than they did at the start of that third quarter. Handy gets the shot up, but it's too late. So Durham manage to hold off the Gladiators in this possession at least. Coach Miguel Angel Ortega Marco.
I do feel he does a very good job, I say this, of staying on the right side. I can't remember, it was one of the London calls last week, and he was disputing, and then he was like, oh, sorry, and off he went, almost before the referees had a proper chance to come over and give him into trouble. Well, he can be so innocent looking at times.
There was an earful for Ian McDonald and Yan Hai Song. There. Hendershot finds the space. Ball moves around well for Durham. And then the basket goes from Chukwuechi. You never get a chance to breathe after a basket when Robin Lewis is playing, because she just is like a whippet getting the ball back into the opposition.
Yeah, whether you're defending or offense. Lovely find in there. What has been the call?
And another call which frustrates the Gladiators. Robin Lewis.
Referees have been on their fast counting course.
It was her turn to give an earful to the officials.
I'm sure it was along the lines of well done. I was totally thinking the same thing as you, Mr. McDonald. Lots of bump in the cutter.
And that's one way to channel your frustration. Excellent steal by Robin Lewis. Handy with the pass. McGarrahan looked at the basket, thought about the shot. Instead it zips around the perimeter to Chantel Handy once more. And the basket won't fall.
really nice recycling of the ball there, yeah.
Wasn't it?
Because she had that open shot the first time, opted not to take it, moved it around, so if nothing else, they've taken time off the clock, and when you're up, sometimes, that's as effective as scoring.
Onto Will Soulsby. McGarrihan now tasked with the defence, and that was excellent coordination and understanding of space from Harriet Ottawell Soulsby, who on a poor shooting night is now up to 13.
Just feel Gladiators are doing that thing they did in Riders and sort of the second half in the Lions game. They're just getting a little bit static, a little bit stagnant.
Elias has to heave it. Almost missed the backboard. And I think you're right, Rona. I think there was definitely an element of not enough movement for the passer in that last possession.
Yeah, when Durham were doing a good job of closing down that inside in the first cutter, they've just got to then find a different solution. And even if that does mean the three isn't dropping, it is again then getting in and getting those rebounds.
Chantel Handy made a massive difference when she emerged from the bench to the momentum in this game. It's just starting to shift, and she's now taken a seat again as Jessica Wayne adds points 13 and 14 to her score for the night. Jamila Thompson is back on.
Oh, lovely find over the top.
Abby Wolf really has to make that.
Yeah, that's that right. Sort of, it's that tiredness thing creeping in there where, your arm just doesn't extend the same. You just don't get up off your left foot the same.
I think, to be honest, she did everything right except the finish. And some of these passes
have been beautiful inside.
Been excellent.
I think that's what you get when you've got the height. You maybe lose a little bit of speed, but then, you're able to see things so much clearer. Lovely take round.
Gorgeous from Hendershot. Took and led the Caledonia Gladiators defence on a merry dance there and cuts the score line. The lead that the Gladiators had down, so it's now a single possession game. McGarrihan looks for Elias. Robin Lewis was there, but Elias takes the shot, and it's not a pretty one once again from the Swede.
It's like Durham and Gladiators are currently trading sort of style of basketballs. One team seems to get tight, not do the right things, shots don't drop, and then it happens for the other team. And at the moment it looks like it's Gladiators' turn to play tight and play a bit nervous, I would almost say.
Robin Lewis can't get it to go.
Great rebounding.
It's a good rebound from Erin McGarrihan. Abby Wolf at the other end with a fine defensive play as well for the Gladiators. Now Thompson, not the best shots. Shooting has gone awry for the Gladiators here. 3.5 minutes left.
Big play here.
Ottawell Soulsby doesn't get it to go. Good rebound from Abby Wolf. 3 away from a double-double. Robin Lewis calling for what she wants. Thompson on the perimeter now. McGarrihan. There was a hand in there for the Palatinates. Wayne. Nice turn. And just trying to finish that from the left side of the body. If she could have maybe got it round to the right, might have yielded a better chance of a basket. How difficult is it to take those shots with your lesser preferred hand?
It depends, I guess, how much you practice. I mean, a lot of these girls, it won't make a difference to them. They'll be so used to it. I mean, yeah, she'll be more comfortable. Sometimes actually I've preferred going on my left hand because less expectations, whereas when you're finishing strong on your right, the expectation would be to score it. Again, using up a lot of the shot clock, but, doing a good job getting inside. Like you say, Durham, they aren't in any foul trouble, so that's maybe something they're going to have to try and look and get them to rack them up, because it means down the line, Durham can make some rash fouls and they can stick their hands in. Yeah,
I think that's a good point. Thompson, McGarrihan, Wolf and Handy, who's currently on the bench, all have 3 for the Gladiators, though time is ticking on. Thompson couldn't get the bucket but did get the rebound.
I think I heard her going hey to the ref from up here.
Just below us, a few of the Surrey Scorchers men's players arriving on scene. If you are still around from 5 o'clock, you will be able to watch the Caledonia Gladiators against the Surrey Scorchers in the British Basketball League.
Yes, there's Abby going in, like I said.
Abby Wolf answering the call.
And I think, we need to see more of that from her. If they're going to give you the space, like actually attack at them, make them guard you. And she's capable of it, None of these girls are recruited to play, especially overseas players, because they're one-dimensional.
Absolutely true. Otto Soulsby. Been such a determined second half from Harriet Otto Soulsby. And she gets another basket to go, and Durham are sticking around in this one. Gladiators unable to put them away. Robin Lewis in space again.
There she goes.
There's the three once more.
And nice hands there at the top of the key, just not able to secure the ball.
Bautista.
Lovely fake and shoot.
Chantel Handy, important rebound. And then in a little cluster, she found Robin Lewis, and they managed to get it up court just in time. Coach Miguel Angel Ortega Marco bellowing instructions. Robin Lewis feeds Thompson, and the three was there to step into. Instead, she uses Handy to help craft out a better
Gets away and gets
shooting.
a rebound. That's great work there. That's exactly what I was talking about keeping the ball.
Just trying to craft out a better shooting opportunity, and then Abby Wolf active under the basket once more.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute for remaining. I'm going to need everybody on their feet.
I know the table officials know their job, but I feel like there's been a lot of Palatinates possession of those jump balls.
Good point. Hendershot. Otto Soulsby. Need a basket right now, do Durham.
Don't know if he's going to go for the offensive call there, but I think he's gone for Robin being small and mighty, going through the screen. That's only her first of the game. That just shows you how intense she plays without sticking her hands in.
I forget what the quote is from, but it's, though she
Shakespeare.
be but small, she is fierce.
Yes.
And that definitely applies to Robin Lewis. Hendershot delivers for Durham.
I mean, again, had quite a quiet game, but these are the moments that people remember, and these are the moments you want to step up.
Abby Wolf now has it. Looks for teammates. Robin Lewis is there.
7 on the shot clock.
Handy. It's Lewis.
Get in.
Can't get it to go.
Great rebound by McGarrigan. That's exactly what you're looking for, but then turned over. Great hustle.
Hendershots. Chukwuetu. 2-point ball game. And no surprise, and Durham commit the foul. So, situation, 6.5 left in the clock, 2-point ball game.
Now with Durham not being in the fouls, they can't force Gladiators to go down the other end, shoot the 2 free throws, hope that they miss, or only get the one to then be able to advance the ball up with their own timeouts. That's something that you've got to think about and manage about in a game as well, because now they've got to give the fouls. They've only got one more to give, but the longer Gladiators are going to look to just keep the ball out, but I imagine there's going to be a hard foul coming out of this inbound possession.
You would imagine so.
But good last shot there. If you wanted someone shooting the three, for me today it would be Robin Lewis. Often you'd look at Chantel Handy, maybe Ortega if she was playing, but she's been knocking them down today, and Erin just unlucky not to be able to keep possession of that ball, but she hustled hard for it, but Durham hustled harder.
So, if you'd predicted coming into this game that Robin Lewis would score a dozen,
I'd have said, aye.
Yeah, but all 3-pointers?
I know, I think that's great, and I think if she's now getting that consistently into her game, that's going to be massive for the team, because she can be so much of a utility player and a sort of facilitator, but if she then is going to have that option herself, then that's going to make, that's going to be another problem on the scouting report from her. You're like, not only is she everywhere all the time, and so fit and so intense. She's also going to be coming at you and knocking down threes.
25% for the season, Robin Lewis. 57%, 4 of 7 tonight. The crowd making noise and on their feet here at the Emirates Arena.
Abby Wolf being taken out in favour of Pat Elias.
Lewis to inbounds. Thompson has it. And there's the foul you were talking about, Rona.
Not as hard as I thought, but I think even Thompson herself was like, meh, Another timeout being called. You feel like, that was maybe something they've maybe worked on in practice, or it's maybe just been drawn up now, but it was getting into sort of 3, 4, 5 second territory, and that's not where you want to be turning the ball over.
No, definitely not. Just in terms of those turnover stats, it's definitely swayed the other way, the balance in the second half. Still the Gladiators who are leading. Sorry, I'll run that by you again. The Gladiators had a lead in points from turnovers by 11-2 at half-time. And now that I'm looking at my stats right, Durham, 18 points off turnovers, and 16 of those in the second half, and just 2 for the Caledonia Gladiators in the second half.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem when you play some high-tempo basketball, that you're going to get it. And I think a lot of the turnovers as well, they're happening inside. They're happening in the paint, they're happening deep in the court. But, a turnover is a turnover. But the last time out, there was only, I think, 1 turnover in it between the teams, with Durham coming out winners. But last time, interestingly, Durham out-rebounded Caledonia Gladiators, which is not something you would think looking at these teams. Whereas when we look at it today, it's still pretty even, 38-30. But to me, boards are going to, whoever controls the boards is going to win the game.
Turnovers certainly costing the Gladiators so far today, no doubt about that. Robin Lewis has been anointed by Durham to be the free throw shooter. First one up, doesn't go. So she's still on a dozen. Needs this to go to force Durham to shoot a 3 to tie the game. And that's an important free throw from Robin Lewis. Just 38% from the line this season. But that one was a mighty one.
No, definitely. In a perfect world, I suppose you score both. In a sort of half-perfect world, do you go for wanting to score the first, miss the second, because then you can't allow the other coach to call the timeout? But, if we were all that good at free throw shooting, we wouldn't be in the place we are. If Durham had been able to knock down, their free throws haven't been great today. Different game. You can look at all these different dynamics, but I'm always I've been involved in games where the coach is like, score the first, miss the second. I'm like, look, mate, I'm just trying to get my free throws in. But that is something you will see. I think we saw it in the Lions European game, where they knew they didn't want to go to overtime. So Holly shot that really awkward looking free throw, so it didn't go in, but they were trying to gain possession back because it was to do with the points differential. So free throws are actually far more technical and when you want to score and not to score than you can first think. But I think, definitely it's go all the way round. Robin scoring that free throw is big, although it has allowed Durham to go out. They've just got to play good defence, definitely not foul the shooter, don't foul, full stop if they can.
Yes, indeed. So, one defensive stop needed from the Caledonia Gladiators to secure a victory that won't make the WBBL shaking its boots like the one against London did.
But again, it's come down to a one-possession game, same as Lions last week. Scored the 2 free throws, but they still had to get the stop. And they were lucky Lions didn't score the layup. Chantel putting on some great defensive pressure.
If they can emulate what they did at the copper box, needs to get it in, Wayne. Shot has to go up. It's Jessica Wayne who shoots it. It doesn't go, and the Durham Palatinates fall to defeat.
What a game there. What a game. I've got sweaty pants just watching.
Thank you to everyone who has joined us as the Caledonia Gladiators run out 59-56 winners against the Durham Palatinates. Erin McGarrigan top scoring with 18 for the Gladiators, and another fine performance from Abby Wolf. 17 points and 9 rebounds. And a word as well for Harriet Otto-Will Soulsby, who in a night where the ball just wasn't falling for her a lot of the time, put in a determined performance to get 15, which was pivotal in Durham, forcing this game right to the end. But it's the Gladiators who run out victorious, Rona. And I imagine the London win is an absolutely huge one. Everyone obviously with eyes on the Gladiators after that. But in a way, this might be somewhat nearly as big. I wasn't going to say bigger, because that's probably not true. But it's going to be important and energising in a different way.
No, definitely. And I think it's like any sport, isn't it? It's like, it's great to go and beat the big teams, but you've still got to go and take care of business against the other teams, or it means nothing, because it's still your 2 points in the win column. It makes no difference. Apart from that, I also think, because we came on the stream late, people I suppose have clocked, but there was no Tay Adams today, and she's such an integral part to the team. Obviously, I wondered what she'd done last week, but it turns out she did indeed. She dislocated her shoulder during the Lions game in the first half. Yep, popped it back in, ibuprofen, tape, and then played that second half. So obviously she sat out today. So I think as well, for them to come and grind out the win off the back of such a good win, and people being like, well done, you've made it, etc., and to be missing one of their key players. And the personnel's changed as well. That's only Thompson's third game with them. Exactly. So the team's had a lot of changes, had a lot to deal with, and I think the fact they just keep morphing and keep adapting to whoever it is that they've got within their team and whoever it is they're playing. I mean, bearing in mind, Durham, the game was supposed to be, was it the third game of the season, second game of the season Gladiators played, but they had issues with players and coaches, so the Durham games have been pushed back a little bit. So, Gladiators, quite a changed and different looking team compared to how they were back then. But every game you've got to take it game by game, and that's how you have success in leagues and cups and trophies.
Yes, absolutely. The Caledonia Gladiators now 9-2 for the season in the WBBL standings. A good chance of them having a decent run at things during this season. A big win then for the women's team today. The men's Caledonia Gladiators team are in action from 5 o'clock against the Surrey Scorchers. You can, of course, watch that on the British Basketball League channel. And as for the women's Gladiators team, they cross the border, close to Durham, but not quite there, to play the Newcastle Eagles next Saturday. That one beginning at 7:30 in the evening. But for today, we are over and out for this one. Rona, thank you very much for another cracking day of patter, and even after a fraught start trying to get on air, we managed to get there in the end. Once more, I'll say a special word to anyone who joined us on the Twitter space earlier on. Thank you for your support with that, and we will just sign off by saying the Caledonia Gladiators victorious by 3 points against the Durham Palatinates. Whatever you're doing in the rest of your Sunday,